You know, in any regulated study, your final data is only as reliable as the materials you start with. It's a simple truth. And that's exactly why good laboratory practice, or GLP, has such rigorous rules for managing test and reference items. So in this explainer, we're going to follow the complete life cycle of a test material, from the moment it arrives at the lab all the way to its final archiving. To really see these rules in action, let's follow a case study with a fictional company we'll call Apex Labs. Their next big project, a really pivotal one, depends entirely on the proper handling of a new test compound. So, let's see just how they navigate the whole process. All right, first things first, let's get our terms straight. In the world of GLP, the material being studied, in our case, compound AL123, that's called the test item. And the material it's being compared against, you might know it as a control or a standard, well, that's the reference item. Understanding this distinction is absolutely key. Okay, so the journey for compound AL123, it all starts the very second it crosses the threshold of the facility. This first stage, receiving, is all about establishing control and creating an undeniable paper trail. Believe me, every single step from here on out depends on getting this right from the get-go. This whole process, it's called the chain of custody. The moment that shipment arrives, Apex Labs is on it. They're recording the date, they're confirming the material's identity. This kicks off the formal custody process. Then, the compound gets moved immediately, and I mean immediately, to the right storage to maintain its integrity. And finally, a detailed disposition record begins, tracking every single milligram from this point forward. And I really want to stress this. This is not just about ticking boxes or filling out forms. This rigorous process creates a complete, unbroken history for the test item. What that means is, if any questions pop up later on, Apex can prove exactly where compound AL133 has been and precisely how it's been handled. That level of traceability is what makes the study's results totally defensible. So we've got the compound logged in, it's stored safely, but before Apex Labs can even think about beginning their experiments, they have to answer a really fundamental question. Before a single test is run, the study director needs absolute 100% confidence in the material. You can't just trust the label on the bottle. I mean, that's just not going to fly in a GLP environment. They need documented proof of what's really inside. And that proof, it comes from something called characterization. Apex has to document these key attributes for every single batch. This is going to include its unique ID and lot number for traceability, of course, its purity and composition so they know what's actually in the vial, and its concentration and stability to make sure it behaves exactly as expected throughout the entire study. And let me be clear, this step is absolutely non-negotiable. It's what ensures that any effects or results from the study can be confidently, without a doubt, attributed to this specific material. Without this foundational data, the entire study would pretty much be invalid. It's that simple. All right, so the study is finally underway. Now the focus shifts to protecting the integrity of compound AL123 during its day-to-day use. Those initial controls we talked about, they were just the start of the process. This table here breaks down the key daily procedures beautifully. You've got clear container labeling, that's to prevent any mix-ups. You have defined handling procedures, which are there to preserve the material's integrity every single time a sample is taken. The storage conditions have to be controlled and monitored to prevent degradation over time. And physical segregation, well, that's just crucial to avoid any possibility of cross-contamination. And really, it all comes down to this core principle, which is captured perfectly in this quote. The ultimate goal of all these procedures is to make sure that the sample you use on the very last day of the study is identical to the sample from day one. Any change, no matter how small, could totally invalidate the results. Okay, let's fast forward a bit. The experiments are done, the data's been collected, and the team at Apex Labs is winding things down. The final report is being written up. But the story of compound AL123, it's not over, not by a long shot. Which brings us to this big question. The study is over, so why on earth would Apex Labs keep a sample of AL123? This brings us to a crucial final step in the item's life cycle, the reserve sample. And this isn't about cleaning up the lab, it's all about long-term accountability. The reserve sample, think of it as a definitive historical reference. For pretty much all studies, a sample from each test item batch has to be kept, and its purpose is crystal clear.
if the results are ever questioned, maybe even years down the road, this sample can be pulled out and analyzed to confirm the exact properties of the material that was used. And to make sure it's kept perfectly, it's stored under strict archivist-controlled conditions.
So you see, this final step is what brings it all home. It ensures long-term accountability and upholds the scientific integrity of the work. The complete, traceable, and verifiable life cycle of the test item, that is the bedrock upon which reliable, defensible scientific conclusions are built. And that protects both the research itself and, ultimately, public safety.